It's gonna happen. Just you watch.
Like the morning sun inviting the dawn to break. Beautiful. Like the joy that...
Hello, my friends. Today is Wednesday, November 7th, and I am here to give you a bigger update than I have in the past couple days. I'm really sorry about yesterday's video. I was at work, and then I just happened to get really busy, and then I was at school until almost 9 o'clock at night, so I had absolutely no time to update yesterday with the amount of stuff I had to do. The past couple days have been good. I showed you what I ate on Monday in yesterday's video. And then in yesterday's video, I neglected to show you what I ate. And I actually don't have pictures of everything I ate because my phone died in the middle of the day. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what I had yesterday, and you're just going to have to believe me. In the morning, when I went to Soothe, I had a cup of coffee. I had some strawberry rhubarb yogurt with a Nature Valley granola bar, and it was so good. I don't know if you guys have heard of this brand called Noosa. It's like it reminds me of a Greek yogurt. It's really thick, really creamy. And then there's this strawberry rhubarb flavor that I actually bought it at Target, and they were a little bit expensive, but there's 2 servings of yogurt in the container, so I usually eat about half of it. I don't know, it's really good. I would recommend it. I think there were other flavors. I think there was a blueberry and a honey one. Particularly, I really enjoy the strawberry rhubarb. It's so good. So if you guys are at Target and you happen to find it, I would suggest picking it up. Maybe just one of them because they are a little bit expensive. But just take into consideration that it's 2 servings of yogurt rather than 1 little cup. It's like the size of 2 cups put together. Alright, so that was breakfast, and then I went to school. And when I was at school, I had brought a whole bunch of little snacks. I brought banana chips and almonds and a whole bag of snap peas. So during class, like about lunchtime, I was munching on that stuff in class. And then after class got out, my friend Jen and we went to Subway, and I had a footlong on whole wheat bread, and I had the veggie sandwich, and I ate 3/4 of it. I left the last little bit that was kind of mushy anyway, so I didn't end up eating it. No chips, no drink except for water. So I just had a whole bunch of lettuce and pickles and tomato and cucumber and green peppers and banana peppers and just this big veggie sandwich. It was really good. After Subway, we went back to school, and we were part of this study group that met from 6 until 8. Mainly we went because we got extra credit points for going. But, I mean, we just got to work on homework and stuff that we hadn't gotten to yet, or stuff that we were behind in. So all in all, it was really beneficial. We got to do homework and gain extra credit points. So that went on until 8. And then I got back to my apartment at about 9. So when I got home, I was feeling kind of hungry. And when I got home, Ren was sitting on the couch looking really sad. And I was like, what's going on? And he said that his boss let him go that day. And he tried to tell me, but my phone had been dead. So he hadn't been able to get it off his chest, and he was really upset about it. And I felt really bad, except I just think you guys should know that we're both students, and really the jobs that we're doing right now are not our careers. So he was working at a little coffee shop. He was working like 2 to 3 days a week. The little bit of money he was making was helping for sure, but it wasn't like an outstanding amount of money. He basically just kind of uses his student loan money to live, and so he was just really stressing me out. He was like, what am I going to do without a job? How are we going to afford to go home? How are we going to afford this? How are we going to afford that? And I just started to get all wrapped up in the world of stress, and we were sitting down and planning and talking about our options and talking about options that we have for him getting a new job. And because we're going to be leaving, we're going to be going back to Fort Myers on December 18th. Well, I'm leaving on the 18th, and he's leaving on the 20th. So, he would have like a month and a half, basically, to find another job. the reason they let him go too is totally unfair. This guy is a total jerk. I don't know what stick is up his ass, but he let Ren go because he wasn't working enough hours. But the reason they hired him to begin with was because they needed someone part-time, and Ren was available part-time. When he first started working there, he wanted to work more, but they only hired him for part-time work, so he wasn't working more. But now they just let him go because they just hired a full-timer and took over his position. They didn't even give him any notice. They didn't give him any 2 weeks or anything. So he was just really upset. The fact that he felt like he was letting me down, the fact that he was letting himself down. He was feeling really bad, like he did something wrong. And when the manager of the coffee shop called him to let him know, Ren was like, well, what did I do wrong? And the guy was like, you didn't do anything wrong. In all honesty, we just needed someone to work more. But they didn't even talk to him about it. They didn't even give him a chance to maybe work more. I mean, they just literally just sliced him off the schedule like he didn't even matter. In all honesty, I feel like he can find something way better. He can find something 100% better. There are so many options in the city. There's this bookstore called William Stout, which is an architecture store. It's basically architecture palooza. The bookstore is filled with architecture books only. And Ren goes in there all the time and just loves to read the books and buy new books, and you know, it's like one of his favorite places. And so what better place to work? And so he's been trying to get in there for a little while, so maybe he'll start attempting that again. And you know, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. It's okay. Eventually I know that this will all be resolved and he'll be getting something new. So anyway, the reason why I told you guys that is because I got really wrapped up in the stress of it all. We were sitting down, we were stressed out, and I started to get more and more hungry. And I really realized that I'm an emotional eater. I know that I'm an emotional eater. I eat mainly in joyous occasions. I eat when I'm happy, which is strange, but I found out that I also eat when I'm stressed. And last night I was really stressed out, so I ended up making 2 boxes of mac and cheese, and Ren and I split them, except I had a significantly less portion than he did. I gave him the majority of it because when I was making it, I was thinking about having to confess to you guys, and I was like, this isn't whole wheat. It is the Annie's organic macaroni brand, so it wasn't like a completely crap brand of mac and cheese, but it wasn't whole wheat, and so I already broke the challenge already. But it's okay because I did all whole wheat again today, and I'm not going to let it stop me. I did want to mention too that I've been doing really well in the gym. So I started interval training beginning of this week, and I went again today, and I did some more interval training at the gym. I did about 40 minutes of walking and jogging. The fastest I went was 5.0, and I was walking at about 3.5. So my jogging at 5.0 was like running for me, like really hardcore running. I could only do it for a few minutes, but I would bump up my speed for 3 to 6 minutes, and then I would lower it back down and walk for 2 minutes. And then I would try to go to 6 minutes. The longest I did today was 9 minutes of straight running. And that was really, really hard. I'm not feeling 100% with my running yet. I'm still getting there, you know. Obviously, it's going to take time to rebuild that muscle. But I feel like I do have a little bit of memory from being a runner a couple years ago. My shins and my calves were just on fire. Like, I was trying so hard to push past it, but it got to the point where it wasn't even my lungs, it wasn't even me being out of breath, it was just my legs were burning. So I would love to know, do you guys have any tips on how to get back into running if you've already kind of been a runner for a little bit? What sort of stretches should I do? And if you guys have tips, I would love to know them. There's this trend that I've been picking up on in the YouTube community with weight loss. I feel like there's a fair amount of people who have trouble with beating themselves up very, very badly. It may not seem like you're beating yourself up that much to yourself, but I just have to say that all that negative talk to yourself, it's not helping you. It's really not. I have to say that I know from experience. I'm just like you. I refuse to let them control me, make me feel guilty, make me feel bad. The fact that I had macaroni and cheese last night wasn't really the best choice, but it was a choice I made nonetheless. Because it was a choice I made, I'm okay with it. I heard something today when I was on the bus. I was listening to When You Eat in Front of the Refrigerator, Pull Up a Chair. You heard me talk about it before. It's Janine Roth's book. The first thing I wanted to talk about is perfectionism. And I've kind of touched on this before. I really thought that I would kind of expound on that a little bit. Mainly because I know that I'm a perfectionist and I definitely have control issues and I want everything to be perfect, and in my weight loss, I want to be perfect. I want to lose as much weight as I can to the fullest potential and la da 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 da. I'm sure that there's a lot of you guys out there that are like that. Well, this weight loss journey for me currently is much different than any weight loss journey I have done in the past, where I have been an extreme perfectionist. My last attempt at weight loss was a very successful one. I lost 40 pounds and got to the lowest weight I'd ever been as an adult. And I have to say that I was consumed with perfection, with the idea of being perfect. Not so much my body being perfect with my calories, eating perfectly, eating cleanly. And I was striving so hard to be this perfect being that of course I was going to fail. There is no perfect being out there. So I wanted to share some things that she said in her book. She says, the most important thing is that you do your best most of the time. Doing your best most of the time is so important with weight loss. And I think that it's those specific words that really need to hit home to us. We really need to say that out loud. Just go ahead and say it out loud. All right, come on, say it with me. The most important thing is doing my best most of the time. Now, obviously, there is no one out there that can do their best 100% of the time when it comes to weight loss. There are going to be specific meals, or days even, that we end up not doing our best. That's okay. We need to understand that being perfect does not get us anywhere closer to our goals than we already are. Because part of this work is psychological, and part of this work is physical. If we only focus on being perfect, we aren't actually discovering anything about who we truly are, because nobody is perfect. I think our new mantra should be that we try to do our best most of the time, and when we don't, we move on. We need to not beat ourselves up over what we had last night for dinner. There's no point. Those negative voices are not your friends. It's going to take time for you to get better at this, because it's taken me a really long time. I've always been so hard on myself about the way I look, when specific clothes don't fit me, what I eat, and mostly it's what I've eaten in the past. Now I'm beating myself up about it for days. It just is not constructive. It's not, I promise. And I'm sure you know, because it's a cycle. You eat something that you wish you wouldn't have. You beat yourself up about it over and over and over until you start to feel like such crap that you decide, I just need to comfort myself. Oh my God, I'm going to use food to comfort myself. And it's a terrible cycle, down and down and down into a very, very negative place. And you're just going to be feeding into that cycle if you continue to speak so negatively to yourself. The next thing I wanted to say is, if you weren't convinced that you were fat and ugly, who would you be? I think that is a question that we all need to start asking ourselves. I have heard so many beautiful women talk so badly about themselves on YouTube. And I just really want everybody out there to understand something. That if we have this idea in our heads that we need to look like the models on the glossy magazine pages, or that we will be so much more beautiful 50 or 30 or 20 pounds lighter than we already are, I just want you to know something. I think that you are beautiful just as you are right now. And I think that you deserve to feel like you are too. And I know that's really hard to do. I know that's so hard. Especially when you're having a fat attack and you feel like you're as big as a house and la da 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 da. I've been there. I know. I just have a little mantra for you to start saying when you start feeling really ugly and comparing yourself to other women and you start feeling as fat as a house. Stop yourself and say, everyone has a unique brand of gorgeousness, and I am beautiful. You have to say that. You're going to promise me. You have to say that. Everybody has a unique brand of gorgeousness, and I am beautiful. You may not believe it at first, but at one point you will come to the realization that what you've been telling yourself all along is the truth, because you are beautiful. Amazingly enough, the food for thought totally plays into my idea that I was talking about earlier about perfection. November 6th, no perfect people. We may have spent much time and energy looking for perfect people to fulfill our lives. This process involves projecting our fond delusions onto those we meet, building them up way out of reality, and then being terribly disillusioned when extended and intimate acquaintances prove them to be just ordinary people. Accepting our friends and family for what they are rather than what we idealize them to be is part of growing up emotionally. It is our own weakness and insecurity that causes us to try to make gods out of other people. As we learn to accept ourselves as less than perfect, we are able to reduce the unreasonable demands. By not expecting perfection from others, we can love them as they are, encouraging their strengths and supporting their weaknesses. The meditation is, I pray for the emotional maturity to accept myself and those I love. I really wish that this meditation were to talk more about the individual. However, I feel like it's important to also talk about the perfection that we project onto other people. We talk about idealizing something. And I think a lot of us, including myself, tend to idealize being thinner. Being thinner will not change who you are. And coming from a place of experience where I lost a significant amount of weight, I think I expected that by losing all of that weight, I would be happy. And that I would finally love myself. And that I would accept myself. And that I would feel worthy. I just have to say that 40 pounds thinner, I looked great. But I didn't feel great. I was not in tune with my body. I was starving it. I was not at a place of self-acceptance and love, which is hard to get to, I know. Idealizing being thinner is like putting your life on hold now. You don't feel like you're beautiful now. You don't feel like you're worthy now. You don't feel like you look good in any of your clothes now. There's no point in doing this now because I'm not worth it. You know, there's so many things that you put on hold when you have this imaginary future of how wonderful everything is going to be. I just think it's really important when you are beginning a program, when you are in a weight loss program, during the length of it, you need to do a lot of self-exploration. Because losing weight doesn't change who you are. You're still going to be the same person doing the same things 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds from now. You're still going to be exactly who you are. Maybe situations will be different, but the same feelings that you feel now won't ever go away unless you deal with them. And I believe with all of my heart that if we continue to idealize being thin, everything will be perfect. Everything will be wonderful. I'll be so worthy of love and happiness. I'll be thin. What could be wrong with my life? If we continue to idealize it like that, we will be terribly disillusioned when we get there. We will wear a smaller clothing size. We may feel more confident. But loving yourself now is what you deserve, so that when you get there, you will be like a shining gold star. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys are all having a great day. I really apologize again for the last couple days being kind of absent, but I feel like I made up for it today. Lots of time spent with you guys. I will see you tomorrow for another update. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!